Have you ever wondered how a landscape that's been completely wiped out, totally reset to zero, can somehow come back to life? Well, today we're diving into that incredible comeback story. It's a process called ecological succession. Really think about that for a second. A volcano erupts, and all that's left is sterile, barren rock. A wildfire just scorches the earth. A glacier retreats and scrapes the land clean. So, what happens next? How does life actually return and build something brand new, right from the ground up? Well, the answer to that question has a name: ecological succession. This is nature's master plan for recovery, and it's not random, not at all. It's a predictable, step-by-step process where one group of living things is slowly replaced by another and another until you get a stable, thriving ecosystem.
Okay, so it turns out nature doesn't just have one plan. It has two main strategies, two different blueprints for how to rebuild, and it all depends on what it's starting with. Let's break those down.
So these two paths are called primary and secondary succession. And the single biggest difference, the absolute game changer, is soil. Think about it like this. Primary succession is like trying to build a house on a totally empty lot. You have to pour the foundation from scratch. Secondary succession, though, that's more like renovating a house that's already there. The foundation, the soil, already exists. And just to paint a really clear picture for you, imagine a brand new island formed by a volcano. That's the perfect stage for primary succession. Or land that's been under a glacier for thousands of years. But for secondary succession, think about an old farm field that's been abandoned or a forest that's recovering a few years after a big fire. The starting points are just worlds apart. All right, let's tackle the really hard path first. How in the world do you get a lush forest from a solid piece of rock? This is the epic journey of primary succession, and honestly, it is a true masterpiece of patience and creation. So take a look at this. This diagram shows the whole incredible journey. Over on the left, you've got nothing but bare rock. And as you move to the right, you see this slow, step-by-step transformation into a mature forest. This particular process, happening on dry land, is called xerox succession, and it is slow. We're talking hundreds or maybe even thousands of years. This journey happens in these really predictable stages. First up are the true pioneers, the lichens, who can actually live on bare rock. Their hard work allows stage 2, the mosses, to move in. That then prepares the ground for herbs and grasses, which in turn are followed by shrubs and then finally trees, until you get this stable final state called a climax community. Now this is where the real magic happens. It all starts with those lichens. They cling to the rock and, as our source material so perfectly puts it, they absorb water like sponges and decompose rock by secreting acids. Just think about that. They are literally dissolving the rock, creating the very first tiny grains of soil. It's just unbelievable. And here's the key takeaway from that. Each stage is a stepping stone. The lichens make just enough soil for the mosses to get a foothold. The mosses grow and die, building more soil, which lets grasses grow. The grasses and herbs die, enriching that soil even more, getting it ready for shrubs. Each community literally changes the world around it, paving the way for the next group that will eventually replace it. Okay, so that was the long game, the marathon. But what happens when nature has a huge head start? Let's switch gears to secondary succession and see how a rebuild can happen on the fast track. This is a completely different story, because that all-important ingredient, the soil, is already there, and it's probably rich with nutrients and dormant seeds. The process is just dramatically faster. Nature isn't starting from scratch. Each one of these steps you see, from an open field to a young forest, is called a cereal community. And because that foundation is already in place, things move so much quicker. And just look at this timeline. In only 3 to 5 years, you have pioneer plants and grasses covering the ground. In maybe 5 to 15 years, you're already seeing small shrubs and young trees pop up. And in as little as 40 years or so, you can have a stable, mature forest. Just remember, the other process could take 1,000 years. That head start that soil gives is absolutely everything. So, we've seen the blueprints, we've met the pioneers, we've looked at the timelines. But why does this all matter? What does understanding ecological succession really tell us about the world we live in? Well, there are some pretty big lessons here. First, and this is a big one, nature is just profoundly resilient. Second, ecosystems are never standing still. They are always changing. And this whole process, It's the foundation for everything we do in reforestation and conservation. But maybe the coolest lesson of all is this. Life doesn't just show up and live in a place. It actively creates the environment for the next wave of life to come. So next time you look outside, whether you're looking at a park, an empty lot, or even just some weeds pushing through a crack in the sidewalk, remember this. The world outside your window is on its own quiet journey of succession. So take a look. What stage do you think it's in?